Alright, hey there guys. I am gonna make a video today for making your own sketchbook at home. I know some of you of my students have said that y'all don't have sketchbooks at home. If you have just some copy paper, like printer paper, this will work. What I'm gonna use for the cover is just the outside of a cereal box. And then I happen to have some scrapbooking paper, but if you don't have that, you can use fabric, you could use duct tape, or you could just keep it like this and it would be perfectly fine. It kind of looks cool. You can always paint over this if you want to. But anyways, so I am just using 8.5 by 11 copy paper. I've already gone ahead and I've cut my Cocoa Puffs box to 8.5 by 11 as well so that they match up. And the first thing that I'm gonna do is take all my pages, and I've got, I believe, 8 here. And I'm just going to fold that in half. All right. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to score my cover. So what I have to do for this, I can't really draw on that side. I'm going to measure halfway, which half of 11 is 5.5. I'm going to make my 2 marks so that I know my line will be straight. And then I'm going to use a utility knife to very lightly score across. I'm not cutting through, I'm barely even putting any kind of pressure. That way it just folds easier across there. Now it seems like no matter how much you measure, I can't ever seem to get these just right. So you see how there's a little bit of this part showing. I like mine to be even, so I'm just going to take my knife and cut off that excess. Just a tiny bit. Maybe even right here too. If you are young, elementary, even maybe some of my middle school, if your parents do not approve of you using the utility knife, please have them help you, or you can just use scissors. And then what you'll end up seeing is we'll have to end up trimming our paper, because when you fold it and stick it in there, we're going to have extra, but we'll take care of that later. Next, I'm going to cover, this is going to be the outside, and I have chosen to do this flowery thing. So I'm going to turn everything over so that I can glue it. I'm just going to use a glue stick. I'm not cutting my paper down because I want it to kind of come over to the other side, and you'll see how we fold that. Make sure you go all the way to the edges with your glue so that it all sticks nicely. Right, and then I'm just going to take this, center it up pretty well. I'm going to fold it so that it kind of gets used to being flattened out like this, or folded like this. And then you'll see as you open it, it is going to create a little bit of a buckle or pucker right there, and that's fine. Okay, next I'm going to make make myself some little slits. That way this thing will fold up nicely. So I'm just lining up the ruler along the side of the cereal box, and then I'm just gonna make little edges like this. Alright, so you should have your 4 corners. Now I'm going to come in even more and just take off a little bit there on the edges of my longer sides. And then lastly, I'm going to make a little slit down here and just cut out a little chunk. Right there where that spine is. And this is just going to help it to fold over to the inside of my book. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is take my glue and I'm going to run it along each side. Just fold it over. If you're using fabric, then you will probably want to use something like Mod Podge as your glue. But you can use anything for this. I mean, just like y'all cover your school books sometimes with paper bags from grocery stores or newspapers, sale flyers. Doesn't matter. Now that we've gotten that, that's the outside, here's the inside. So we don't really want to see it like this. That is why I have this extra print here, is for the inside of my book, or inside of my cover. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut out a panel that's going to glue down here and one here. And the reason that I'm going to cut them in 2 separate ones and not all the way across is just because of this binding, this fold that's here. Okay, so I'm actually going to cut it a little bit smaller than this side. So we know if this is 8.5 by 11, when you fold it in half, it becomes 8.5 by 5.5. So I'm going to do instead of 5.5, I'm going to do 5.25. So I'm going to make 2 marks for that. And then I'm going to turn. And instead of 8.5, I'm going to do 8.25. That way they're just a little bit smaller. And I'm going to cut. Like I said, you can use scissors. You could just, you know, at this point, draw your line and then cut with scissors. Alright, so I've got one. And then I'm just going to use this kind of as a template. always make 2 lines. That way I kind of have a connect the dot. If I just have one, then like if I just had this line and not this one, there would be no way of me knowing that I was for sure straight all the way across. So if we make 2 marks, we can connect the dots for a straight line. All right, so we have our 2 inner pieces that now we can glue down. And I am going to show a little bit of that front cover piece, just slightly. I don't know about y'all, but I sure missed seeing all my students and hearing about what's going on with y'all. So I may try to set up one of the Zoom meetings. I'll send out something maybe to see how many are interested in that. And then that way we can all get on, at least maybe get on my elementary at one time, then maybe middle school another time, and then high schoolers lastly. And then we can see each other and talk and maybe do a project together. All right, now for a finishing touch, I've got some little decorative tape, some washi tape, that's what they call it. And I'm just gonna cover this seam here because this is a little more flexible. Now we have our cover for our book here. Okay, looks nice, sturdy. So for the inside pages, we need to trim those off. So I wanted to wait until I had all of this in there because it does bulk it up just a little bit. So I'm going to try to cram it in there as good as I can to see what sticks out. I'm going to draw a line for myself. And then I will I do use a metal ruler whenever I'm working with a blade of some sort. That way, you know, you're not cutting up a wooden ruler and making splinters. So I'm gonna just press it down as good as I can, come in on that line a little bit so that I know I'm not going to be protruding out of the cover. And I'm just gonna cut this off. Doing multiple passes across here to make sure that I'm not tearing my paper. I'm gonna tear it. Okay. That looks good. I do feel like I could trim it just a touch the other way because I like my pages to kind of hide inside of my book. But this is all preference. Okay, so I like that. So now comes the fun part of trying to get it all stuck together. I'm going to use staples, but not a stapler. I'm actually going to get a little clip so that my pages don't want to move around while I do this. So I have a little thing of some staples that I took out of my stapler here at the house. And I need to break a few apart because I'm going to put 3 staples across here. So I've got my 3 staples. The way that I do this is I just take my staple, kind of put it where I want the holes to go, and then you'll see it will make a little mark. So it makes 2 little dots that I can barely see, but they are there. Then what I do is I take a push pin and I just stick that through all those pages and the cover. And I typically come back and make sure that I go back through the holes on the cover so that it's a little bit easier for me. Stick it through from the cover to the inside. And there it is. Put something hard underneath. And then I just take something that's hard to bend my staples over. Okay. And then I do it again. That is a sketchbook. So if I want to work portrait, you know, I have a nice portrait. If I want to work landscape, I could work this way. And then it's fun to just, you know, get different things and decorate if you want. Something I did, it's just I had some little stuff and I stuck it on there for another sketchbook, but you can be as creative as you want with this, and I would just encourage you to keep drawing and keep trying to be as creative as you can during this time. And yeah, I will talk to y'all soon.